Friends, today we are going to decode the biggest mystery in the world of From, a mystery that has left everyone shocked and completely baffled. Its name is the bookmark theory. If we go all the way back to the very first episode, the show introduces Julie as a storyteller. She is telling Ethan the story of Norman, Farron's, and the Lake of Tears. That was not a coincidence. The producers cleverly planted a hint right in the opening scene that Julie has a very deep connection to stories. In the Season 3 finale, we were given a new term, story walker. Ethan clearly stated that Julie has the power to return to chapters of the story that have already happened. However, there is a major catch here. She cannot change the story. She can only read those chapters or become a part of them. But can she really change nothing? Or is everything happening in Fromville actually happening because of Julie? This is where the first theory comes in, the bookmark theory. This theory not only explains how Julie's powers work, but it also explains why people in the mysterious town keep getting trapped in the same loop over and over again. According to the bookmark theory, any physical object in Fromville can travel between different chapters of time, or different timelines, but only if that object has a deep emotional connection to a person. The theory suggests that the importance of an object is not determined by its value, but by the emotions attached to it. When an object becomes filled with powerful emotions such as love, grief, or memories, it stops being an ordinary object and becomes a bookmark, a key that can cross the boundaries of time. Just as we use a bookmark in a book to remember a specific page, these emotions connect an object to a particular moment in time. A story. Walker like Julie can use these bookmarks to return to those chapters whenever she wants. In Season 4, Episode 4, Julie tried to leave a simple piece of paper marked with a symbol in the past. However, the experiment failed because the paper was merely a test object. Julie had no emotional connection to it, no memories attached to it, and no history with it. Since the paper was not part of any significant time chapter, it could not anchor itself within the flow of time and simply disappeared. On the other hand, Boyd's wife Abby's ring functioned perfectly as a bookmark. The ring was connected to love, marriage, and Boyd's deepest emotional wound. It carried immense significance in Boyd's life. When Boyd found the ring in Colony House, he was completely shocked because the original ring was safely stored in a box in his office. This leads to the second major rule of the bookmark theory. The same object cannot exist in two places at the same time. The moment Boyd saw the original ring, the duplicate ring that had arrived from the future vanished. This happened in order to preserve the integrity of the time loop. In Fromville, every moment in which a character experiences an intense emotional event becomes its own chapter in time. For example, Boyd remembering his wife creates a time chapter. Everything present in that moment becomes part of that chapter and can later be used as a bookmark. The old objects scattered throughout Fromville are not junk. They are actually coordinates in time and space. When Tabitha picked up Victor's lunchbox and approached the bottle tree, she was transported directly to Camden, the place where Victor grew up as a child. The lunchbox acted like a coordinate, guiding Tabitha to the correct location. Tabitha's bracelet existed in the town even before she arrived there, suggesting that certain important objects continue returning through the loop again and again. As we saw, Sophia removed a tooth from the body of the dead priest. She did not do this because she wanted to remember him or because she missed him. According to this theory, by keeping that tooth, she was binding the priest to the town's loop forever. She was using the tooth as a coordinate, a bookmark that could preserve the priest's presence within the town. This theory suggests that people are trapped in this town because some part of their lives is connected to the past through these bookmarks. Christy came here because she carried symbols of Marielle in her life, the painted rock and the engagement ring. Victor's father arrived because his son was trapped here. To break the loop, the origin point must be destroyed, the place where all of this began. That means the sacrifice of the Onkui children. Until the original pact is redeemed and atoned for, these bookmarks will continue pulling people back into the same story over and over again. For Julie, the bookmark theory functions almost like a cheat code. If Julie travels into the past and brings back an emotionally significant object belonging to a deceased person, something like a toy, a piece of jewelry, or another deeply meaningful possession, a connection is created. That object would link the present to the past, allowing Julie to revisit that period whenever she chooses. Everything Victor has collected and drawn over the last 40 years may actually be the most valuable map in all of Fromville. Victor's drawings are not just drawings, they are visual bookmarks of moments he could not fully remember. If Julie, who possesses the power of story walking, and Victor, who possesses a collection of bookmarks, work together, they could potentially solve any mystery connected to time. The bookmark theory argues that emotions are the greatest force in Fromville. Objects are not merely physical items, they are keys capable of opening doors through time. Julie must now understand that she should not be searching for ordinary pieces of paper. She needs to search for memories, emotions, and meaningful connections. As we already know, the haunting event that took place inside the Matthews family home at the end of Season 4, Episode 1 was not a coincidence, nor was it the work of a ghost. At the end of the episode, Tabitha, Julie, and Ethan are inside the house. Jim has has not returned yet, and Tabitha lies to the children, assuring them that everything is fine. Then suddenly, a kitchen pot flies through the air and slams into a wall. Immediately afterward, the kitchen cabinet doors begin opening and closing repeatedly, almost violently. This scene was not caused by a demonic force. If it had been the town itself acting up, similar events would have occurred throughout Fromville. Instead, this incident was highly targeted. It happened only in the Matthews family kitchen, and only in front of that specific family. The show has already confirmed that during story walking, Julie can physically exist in the past. She can touch objects and interact with her surroundings, even though other people cannot see her. The biggest piece of evidence is the rope she threw to Boyd after traveling into the past. At the beginning of the episode, we see a future version of Julie with shorter hair and visible scratches across her face. She witnesses Jim's death and desperately tries to save him, but she fails. At that exact moment, she suddenly disappears in front of the man in yellow. According to this theory, that disappearance is not random. Instead, she story walks directly into her family's kitchen. Future Julie did not choose a random object to move. She specifically chose the cooking pot that Jim had last used before his death. Standing beside Jim's dead body, helpless and unable to communicate with her family, Julie had no way to warn them, so she moved the object that would remind them of Jim. It was her attempt to send a message without speaking, to tell them that Jim was gone. The cabinets repeatedly opening and closing were not expressions of anger. They were the desperate cries of a daughter trying to communicate with her family while trapped in a state where no one could see or hear her. This scene reveals an entirely new level to Julie's powers. She is not simply traveling into the past anymore. She is existing in the same location across two different points in time simultaneously. The present-day Julie is standing in the kitchen, while the future Julie is invisibly moving through that same kitchen, shaking cabinets and throwing objects. This suggests that she is no longer just observing the story. She is becoming an active part of it. Believe that in Season 5, we will revisit the entire kitchen scene from future Julie's perspective. We will finally see what was really happening behind the scenes, how she stood there invisible, crying, and desperately trying to save her family by throwing the pot and moving the cabinets. It may turn out to be one of the most heartbreaking and emotional scenes in the entire From series. There are also several other theories that suggest Julie has traveled into the past many times before. Take Boyd's talismans, for example. Boyd discovered those miraculous stones inside a cave while following a dog. But where did they originally come from? Just as Julie traveled into the past and threw a rope to Boyd, it is possible that future Julie was the one who placed the talismans inside that cave. The dog may have been sent by Julie as well, guiding Boyd to the exact location where he needed to go. Julie is not changing history. She is completing it. The talismans were always there because Julie was always destined to place them there. Do you remember Season 1, Episode 2? One of the monsters looked directly at Julie, waved at her, and asked, "Julie, don't you recognize me?" That moment may have been far more important than it first appeared. While traveling through the past to place the talismans or trying to save her father, Julie may have encountered that monster before. The scratches we see on future Julie's face could have been caused by that same teenage monster. That would explain why the creature recognized her as if they had a history together. For present-day Julie, it was her first night in Fromville. But for the monster, it may have been a reunion with someone it had already met in another chapter of the story. Now let's talk about Victor. Victor almost never trusts strangers. That has always been part of his personality. Yet the moment he met Julie, he offered her peaches and seemed unusually comfortable around her. Why? Perhaps because he had already met her when he was a child. Victor once drew a picture of a mysterious, dark figure that bears a striking resemblance to Julie. I believe Victor encountered future Julie in the past, but eventually forgot the details over time. It is possible that after Victor's mother and sister died, future Julie was the one who taught young Victor how to hide in the woods and survive. Victor may remember fragments of those encounters, but they feel more like dreams than real memories. That would explain why he often seems to know things he cannot fully explain. Finally, we come to another major theory, the power of 3. We now know that Julie gained her story-walking ability after being tortured by the music box entity. However, Julie was not the only victim. Randall and Marielle went through the same experience. The theory suggests that all 3 of them received different powers connected to the nursery rhyme. They touch, they break, they steal. Julie represents they touch. Her power allows her to sense time, connect with it, and move through it. Randall represents they break. His power may be connected to destruction, aggression, and the ability to shatter barriers. Marielle represents they steal. Her ability may involve stealing memories, moments in time, or even pieces of reality itself. Some fans even believe that Marielle's history of drug theft was an early hint pointing toward the nature of her future power. According to this theory, the true mystery of Fromville will only be solved when all 3 of them combine their abilities. Only then will they be capable of breaking the town's endless cycle. So, in the end, Julie is not just an ordinary girl. She may be one of the hidden architects of Fromville itself. She may have placed the talismans. She may have saved Boyd, and she may have shaped the entire story in an effort to save her family. But, as Ethan warned us, once a story has been written, it cannot be changed. The question is, can Ethan become the next narrator and rewrite the ending? Can Julie truly master her powers? And will Season 5 finally reveal the answers to these mysteries? What do you think? Could Julie actually be the key to everything? Be sure to share your theories in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.